It's Mayor Cody. He got the nerve pipe and he used it on you.
This is gonna be fun.
Terry is the latest DLC character to be added to Street Fighter 6 and he have been my main ever since he came out. I actually main Terry in every fighting game he was playable in. Obviously you can see the resemblance to Cody. Obviously I was gonna be a Terry player. After he came out by a bit, I made a video talking about some of his shortcomings and how he was a little bit underwhelming. I thought that his whiff punishment wasn't really that great. He can whiff punish with a crouching medium kick or standing medium kick, but they give you like limited follow-ups. You have to use a heavy kick, but this is slower. Other characters have horizontal heavies, especially like heavy punches that can lead to a lot of damage, so his whiff punishment kind of lagged. I talked about his 3 light sequences and how his quick burn isn't really that effective. You can frame trap lights with it, but if the opponent knows the matchup, went for a slower normal, it was kind of inconsistent and obviously it's unsafe on block. I talked about his throw loop and how it is abnormally fair for this game, the fact that it can be backdashed and punished when many of the other better characters don't really have this issue. And obviously there is the lane switch TC, which I think a lot of people think it's a pretty gimmicky right now. So after that, Capcom released an update to Street Fighter 6 and they buffed many characters, Terry included. So did Capcom address any of the issues I've just mentioned? Absolutely not. But somehow, despite them addressing any of that, Terry now, in my opinion, is one of the best designed characters in Street Fighter 6. So let me explain. For starters, Capcom buffed his round wave, that is the heavy punch fireball. The move now have overall 2 frames less recovery. And it is absurd how much this unlocked for Terry, because now say you do a heavy punch into a round wave on block. If the opponent tried to drive impact that gap, Terry can now drive impact them back, and obviously this means that he can go for a perfect parry as well. Amazing, something that he wasn't able to prior. This also improved his mid-screen combos. Prior, if you want to do like a drive rush extension, you would do heavy shoulder charge into the light fireball, drive rush into the power dunk TC. This was a pretty good combo, but now because heavy punch fireball have 2 frames less recovery, you can swap it instead of the light punch and you're getting pretty much like 200 more damage on this combo, which is pretty nice. It's a little bit difficult, takes a lot of time to get used to, but you can go for a crouching medium punch into a heavy bar knuckle instead, and it doesn't do as much damage, but it's a little bit more consistent. Anyway, great buff. This also tremendously buffed Terry's damage and set play in the corner, because now after a heavy punch fireball, you can go for a medium kick tackle, meaning that you can go for a safe jump afterwards, you can go for a meaty overhead for some meaty overhead setups, you can just instead go for the heavy punch uppercut, meaning that your damage just got buffed, because now this is a better combo than you used to get before. He now have more damage on his level 2 combos, and you even get a double Buster Wolf. And I'm sorry, this is all far too convenient. Like, you can't tell me that 2 frames now allow Terry to do everything I just mentioned. Terry was designed like that initially, but was nerfed pre-release. I am convinced, because like I said, everything I mentioned so far is far too convenient. Man, that is like way too much. I don't know, it's just a theory, but I don't know. Anyways, they also buffed his crouching medium punch so that now the move have less pushback on hit. And just like the heavy punch fireball, This is also far too convenient because now he still doesn't get like whiff punish crouching medium punch into the heavy tackle, that still doesn't work, but after a drive reversal this now is a lot more consistent because on punish counter you do get this combo. It made his shimmying in general with crouching medium better, even as a punish counter, crouching medium into standing heavy punch is more consistent. This also just buffed his Oki in the corner as well because after a heavy punch uppercut you could go for a meaty crouching medium punch, it will be +8, and now because of the reduced pushback you get a combo into a crouching heavy punch. So this also buffed his damage, now you get much better roots after that. And it also buffed his overhead mid-screen, especially like drive rush overhead. Prior, one of my things was like, why does Terry get so little out of a drive rush overhead? He was getting like 2.2k or like 2.4 if you went for the DB, which doesn't give you like great Oki. Other characters like Chun-Li, not like a particularly high damage character, was getting like 2.8k after her overhead. But now, after the crouching medium punch reduction, Terry does get a standing light kick afterwards, meaning that he will get the light tackle into a follow-up, so now he's getting like 500 more damage on a mid-screen drive rush overhead. That's actually insane. That's a really big buff to his mid-screen damage overall. And remember when I talked about his lane switch and how Capcom didn't really change it? Well, I lied, because the crouching medium punch also does buff his TC. See, here's the thing, right? When you use uppercut or like the cross line, I guess, it's +3 on block, right? And it doesn't combo, so you're getting that plus frames. But prior to capitalize on the situation, Terry had to go for a standing jab, crouching medium punch. This was a frame trap if you wanted to get any follow-ups. But now, because of the reduced pushback, Terry can get a crouching medium punch into standing medium, which means medium, better combos, less scaling. So that is just amazing. Now he's even getting better value out of that, and I think over time we learned how to use the passing sway TC better, how it's a really valuable tool now out of a perfect parry. There is a lot of scaling anyway, so the mix-up can be pretty decent. Hi there and welcome to my world, welcome to my mansion, where me and my friends, the EX-Men gather. We're still looking for Wolverine, we haven't found him yet, and apparently in my universe Psylocke and Rogue are identical twins as well. It's crazy. If you've been liking the video but you haven't subscribed yet, and please consider subscribing, it would help the channel a lot, and maybe we would find Wolverine one day. I think that would be pretty cool. Excuse the silliness and enjoy the rest of your video. But the absolute best thing about this balance patch was that it gave Terry a niche. It gave him a unique strength that is obnoxiously effective right now, and the first step for doing this was buffing his standing heavy punch, where now Terry's standing heavy punch is +1 on block. By itself, this is not anything crazy. There is a lot of pushback, so even if you frame trap your opponent after the standing heavy punch, you're not gonna convert into anything meaningful. But this is very good after a drive rush, because after a drive rush is gonna be +5, meaning that Terry can go for a crouching medium punch, which will be a very effective frame trap, or he can just go for another heavy punch on block. This is very good at chipping at your opponent's drive gauge. Also, it allows Terry to have viable frame traps here and trade counter hit combos. Amazing. But how am I gonna use that drive rush heavy punch? How am I gonna get into that position? Well, they buffed his medium punch fireball as well, and Terry's medium punch fireball now the hurt box comes out a little bit later, meaning that it should be a little bit easier to use. And this one knocks down on a counter hit or on a punish counter, and it does have the same effective range as his blossom block medium punch burn knuckle, meaning that from the mid range there is an effective game plan here for Terry. You can throw a medium punch burn knuckle, and from the right distance it can be blossom block, and in throw range, or if you got the knockdown, you drive rush heavy punch on the meaty, and the same can be done with his fireball, where now it can knock down, you drive rush, go for the heavy punch, you got the frame trap, you got the ability to ship at their drive. And you can tell that Capcom really doubled down on this direction when they buffed many of his other specials, like his crack shoots. All of them now will deal more ship to your opponent drive, so they really want you to keep them low on drive, and also they buffed his round wave, where now this takes a lot of drive gauge from the opponent. All of this means that Terry now have a very effective mid-range game plan of I'm gonna throw one of my Anga moves or not, or maybe drive rush, knock you down, drive rush, heavy punch, maybe you try to go for a parry but then I throw you, depleting your gauge even further. This gives Terry a very unique niche, a very unique playstyle that no other character in the game actually use. So with all of that being said, does this make Terry like a much better, stronger character in the overall meta? I'm not sure. He is certainly better. I think now he at least is a solid mid tier. But here's the thing. Terry got one, as Yugi would say, he got a trap card. Because Terry is surprisingly good against many of the more relevant top tier characters. I think he was always very good against Cammy, even better now. He does have an uppercut, so this gives him a good chance against her dive kick. His medium punch fireball was really annoying for Cammy to deal with, and for some reason his standing heavy kick is insane versus her dive kick. It's very effective in the Cammy matchup. Cammy is even weaker now, Terry is even better, so that's great. I also find that he is very good against Ken. Cammy and Ken, the two most popular characters in CBT. Terry have good matchups against. His OD fireball is really difficult for Ken to deal with, and I do think in general Terry have a little bit more walk speed, a little bit longer crouching medium kick, so he's good. He also is very annoying to Guile. Even Lens, like my friend Lens, he doesn't want to play Guile versus Terry anymore. He would rather play Bison against Terry because the game plan of like I'm gonna throw boom into drive rush doesn't work versus Terry, because Terry does have his light punch fireball that can disrupt all of that, and obviously he can get in easier than other characters because of the medium punch burn knuckle. So I don't know if Terry is gonna be like a top character, but he is at least a very solid counter pick. He's good versus Ken, he's good versus Cammy, he's good versus Guile, and these are three, and I do think he's good versus JP as well. So like 4 characters that I do think are very, it's very good to be strong against them, like because they are all very relevant. I also do think Terry is now one of the better designed characters because he rewards skill play now more than many of the other characters. Like, there are optimal routes that are skillful, that are hard, but if you work towards them, if you have the execution, for his setups, he can be very rewarding. I love what they did with him because they made him a little bit easier to play, but also there is a high skill ceiling, what you can do with a passing sway TC, what you can do with many of his optimal combos. Terry is fantastic right now. I'm really happy with how he's turning out. Even if he didn't get buffed further, I do think he's in a very good place right now. What are your thoughts on Terry currently? Do you think he still needs help? Do you think Capcom perfectly nailed it with him at the moment? I do think he's like where I want characters to be. Have good options, but not stupid at every single option, and very much have a specific niche. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like or a comment. It helps the channel so much. I will be leaving a link to the Patreon, Discord, Twitter, and Twitch pages in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and stay safe.